I totally get it when people are like, I don't like woke. Woke is a bad word. I get it. Do you think I choose to want to be woke all the time?
I want to go back to sleep.
I want to sleep. I want to rest. Okay? Being woke is a walking nightmare.
Yes.
It is looking at everything and seeing all of the labor violations. Hello. This is Jenny, and you are listening to a free and shorter version of What Should We Talk About with Jenny Yang. And at the end of today's episode, paid subscribers will see our taste test of Kiss of Matcha's Mochis, a really great little chain for matcha stuff in San Francisco, and the iconic RNG Lounge restaurant on with the show in San Francisco, Chinatown. We all go to dinner, and it's delicious. I mean, ugh. So consider being a paid subscriber at jennyyang.substack.com. Sure, you can listen to me wherever you pod, but you can also do that, plus watch the full episode with links and sources at jennyyang.substack.com. On with the show. Mama, what should we talk about?
What should you talk about?
What should we talk about?
It is Thursday, May 15th, 2025, and it is a gorgeous day here in San Francisco. I know, my first time on location. Amazing. And how am I this week? Well, like the TV channel Max calling itself HBO Max again, I've been a messy bitch. Today is 77 years since the Nakba, the ethnic cleansing of Palestinian Arabs through their violent displacement. 750,000 Palestinians were completely displaced during the 1948 Palestinian War. Adriana Smith, a 30-year-old nurse, mother, and daughter, who is currently brain dead over 90 days, still has her body being kept alive because of Georgia's heartbeat law. Because when she became brain dead, she was pregnant. And because of this draconian, disgusting law, the entire family, against their will and their partner, has to have essentially Adriana Smith act as an incubator for this baby. The budget reconciliation bill proposes a 10-year ban on state regulations on AI, collecting data and biometric info, meaning states can't say no to whatever the AI massive companies want of us. And still, we do not have universal health care in America. This is What Should We Talk About with Jenny Yang, your weekly catch-up time with smart and funny people who give a fuck. Probably too many fucks. We discuss topics submitted by our guests and you, the listener. Any topic, current, old, big, small, nerdy, petty. Submit a topic, leave a voicemail, or text at 323-250-3589. On today's agenda, it's a messy agenda, okay? Because I am on location. We didn't pin down the names of these things, but we're going to discuss a bunch of things. Number one, podcast updates. Number two, Bon Appetit 2021 reckoning, and where are we now in food media? Number three, the death of alt weeklies and weird news. Number four, the politically very confounding Cybertruck in the Bay Area that sports a custom keffiyeh wrap. Sorry, I had to laugh at that. Number five, white South Africans are being sent into America as refugees. Number six, an East LA College Asian American / ethnic studies professor has been possibly involved in a hate crime. Number seven, Medicaid funding cut essentially is now a tax cut for the wealthy. Number eight, I don't even know the numbers anymore. Ben & Jerry's co-founder Ben Cohen was among protesters at an RFK Jr. Senate hearing. And whatever the next number is, we're going to do a taste test / turn into a restaurant outing just for the paid subscribers. And of course, action items and show me some love. Because you don't want to feel like you're losing your mind, and because we long for a better world filled with fun, love, joy, and cool shit. This is What Should We Talk About with Jenny Yang. There's no audience. I'm just doing this for you. Out here in the wild, we have Soleil Ho, Soleil Ho, Soleil Ho. Y'all, Soleil Ho is a writer and former restaurant critic for the San Francisco Chronicle, which, by the way, I learned in Mandarin Chinese to explain to my mom is 美食评论家. 美食评论家. Oh, okay. I did the tones wrong. 美食评论家. All right. Soleil, what do you want to shout out this week?
I have been really enjoying all of Ocean Vuong's appearances in the media.
Yes.
He's got a new book out, Emperor of Gladness, and I hate to say it, I love when he cries because I'm just like, oh, that's our boy.
Yeah.
That's our Vietnamese guy out in the field, showing the world a beautiful kind of vulnerability.
Yeah.
I love him.
Me too. Ocean Vuong, truly a generational talent,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Also,
I'm glad someone is.
right? Someone needs to be. Ocean Vuong also, when he is vulnerable and when he cries, I truly cry my ancestors' tears. That's how deep it is. Do you know what I'm saying? Ocean Vuong is out here channeling our generational trauma.
Yes. Oh my God.
And I'm not even a refugee. My dad was, but I am not.
Mm.
And I feel it.
Yes. Yes.
So yes, I'm excited for was it of Gladness?
Emperor of Gladness.
That's right. Ocean Vuong. Our next guest is a retired garment and factory worker and mother of 3. She loves filling in adult coloring books with fancy colored pencils. The bright colors of fuchsia pink and red are her favorite colors for flowers. And I've known her since I was born. Please welcome Mama Yang.
谢谢。
哎呦，妈妈，你这个礼拜你觉得做什么事情弄得所以你会很高兴？你想要跟我们讲？
跟你们出来玩，又有的吃，这是最高兴的。
All right. I said, Mom, what do you want to shout out? What made you feel joy? And she said, coming out to hang out and travel and eat good food. That makes me happy. Thanks, Mom.
谢谢。
Amazing. Now, I don't really have recommendations for the week. I am just, honestly, my brain, for the lack of preparation for today's agenda, is because I have been tasked to do a keynote speech at the Mental Health Association of San Francisco's conference. It's called Redefining Crazy. I think that's the name of the conference. And I'm so honored because they have 2 keynote speakers, Angela Davis and me. Who am I? What are we doing? Talk about redefining crazy. That's crazy.
I love that the DEI grift is still alive.
Wow. What an attack. Calling Angela Davis and me a DEI grift.
Get that bag.
Wow. I mean, I am so honored because I'm going to be doing a keynote speech about the connection between comedy and mental health. And so that's, I don't know how you are when you write like a long-term, like a longer form piece, but that's all my brain can really process. Otherwise, it's really hard to switch into these other things, you know? So here I am. We're going to have a great convo. But I'm just shouting out being on the same agenda as a keynote speaker as Angela Davis. Wild.
That's so amazing. I love that. And I hope that you do not black out on stage. That's
Oh my
my
God.
one hope for you.
Thank you. Has that happened to you before?
Every time.
Blacking out on stage?
Well, I black out as I'm giving the speech, and then
Yeah.
I wake up after the speech. I'm like, what did I say?
You just completely dissociate.
Yes.
To not feel a thing.
Yes.
Got it.
Because the trauma is just so omnipresent when I'm on stage of just being looked at.
Yeah. It's so intense.
I wish I could just deliver it like turned away from the audience so I would pretend they weren't there. But
yeah, I feel like a lot of people relate to that. I, on the other hand, am somehow wired for being on stage, which is a sickness. It is not a gift. It is a curse.
you're in the right place then.
I am in the right place. So here we are. Let's go with number 1. Podcast updates. This is my 3rd time coming up to San Francisco in the last month, and I'm loving it. Honestly, I want to make the Bay Area my second home. Not gonna lie. I mean, the people out here have brought me out to host. It's not a DEI grift. It is a hard skill of being a gala fundraising host, as well as to do stand-up comedy. And it's been great. Like I was here for the Asian Law Caucus gala, which is amazing. That's, the people who founded the civil rights organizations are a bunch of civil rights lawyers that I only heard about when I used to be a little Asian American studies, ethnic studies student. And I also came to do a show with Shang Wang, Sabrina Jalise, Bassem Youssef, an incredible lineup here in the Bay for IIBA, IIBA. I forgot what they're called, but IIBA. They're also an immigration rights organization. And then here I am now doing a comedy keynote. So anyway, update podcast. Thanks for supporting. And we're going to figure out how to make sure I do better agendas for On Location podcasts. Okay. And then final thing, I'm so excited. Next week, the guest will be the Todo Chido podcast. I am obsessed with them. They're Southern California based, 3 Latinx friends who talk about everything. They talk about political things. They talk about what it's like to grow up in Southern California with their identity. And I love them. And I just, as an excuse to meet them, I booked them as my podcast guest for next week.
That's
the way to do it,
yes.
right? Todo chido.
That's how you meet celebrities.
Todo
You book
chido.
them.
Vamos. Yeah. So excited for that. Number 2, Bon Appetit 2021 Reckoning. And where are we now in food media? I wanted to bring this up because it is with Soleil. Soleil and I met many moons ago, back when I used to make content, and I made fun of food media around 2015?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Is that
It was
around
for
the time?
Yeah. And that was for the ramen. No, pho.
Pho. So this
pho
is what
video.
happened. Do you remember in 2021 when after everyone was posting their black squares and they were like, oh yeah, I think Black Lives Matters too. There was a reckoning in all these different media organizations and institutions, and one of them was Bon Appetit. All this juicy hot pipe and tea came out about how maybe the talent of color were not as respected.
The real smoking gun
Yeah.
was that someone had posted a picture of the editor-in-chief dressed as a Puerto Rican in brown face at a
Wow.
Halloween party. So
And then they had to resign.
yeah.
Yeah, I forgot this man's name, but he'll be fine. I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah.
He's
fine.
living a good life probably. So I feel like 2021, when all of that happened, it made me think about our times together. When you wrote a piece about my satirical video where I was making fun back in 2014 or 15, making fun of Bon Appetit videos. They were already problematic back then. No one was talking about it. And I was like, what is this mess? And the thing that really made me want to make a video was because they had done this sort of random video of this white chef talking about the best way to eat pho, because he opened up a pho restaurant in Philadelphia. And it was, I forgot what it was called. It was called Noodle or some shit, And the whole vibe was off. It was the editing, the editorial of that video did this man no justice, because he came off as this condescending prick, And as you know, Asians, when we get our food questioned or disrespected, we will rise up online. And at the time, Yelp was popping, and there was a lot of chatter roasting him. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to make my own satirical video called Sandwich, where I pretended to be a chef like him, but instead I was trying to be condescending about how to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And you covered me for Munchie's Vice, I think.
I think I had you on my podcast.
And I had you on, yes, and you had me on your podcast.
Yeah.
But you also wrote a thing for Vice.
I probably
about
did.
it. Yeah,
Again, I blacked out.
I know. So anyway, that is a whole long history between us. And we haven't really talked since then. I mean, we've hung out, but not on the record. So on the record, I'm curious, how did you feel about the Bon Appetit reckoning from 2021?
Oh gosh. I enjoyed it a lot. I was waiting for it because, you do a lot of back channel chit chat with your colleagues in the industry saying you just share stories around just being like, why did this happen?
Right.
Who decided this? And you look at the masthead and you're like, obviously that's why. And at the same time, the Bon Appetit test kitchen was at its apex, right?
Yeah.
Like those YouTube videos,
Yes.
people were projecting a lot onto these people making content.
Yeah.
Like Brad, Claire, et cetera, et cetera.
Stars were being made.
Yes, it was a bonanza. And there were some very clearly racist things happening in those videos.
Yeah.
And the fans loved it so much. And so you could not say anything about it. And then finally, the tidal wave came in. And it felt really validating.
You know what it felt like to me? In 2021, when people started to actually say real things about the Bon Appetit crew, it felt like the popular kids were getting taken down.
Kind of.
A little bit. Like it kind of felt like, oh, look at these cool kids. They're so cool and popular.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? There's a secret underbelly that we didn't know about. Because most of the cool kids were white.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's very much in the overall pattern of American consumption, right?
Yes.
Where you don't want to ask questions. You just want to enjoy the thing.
Yeah.
And I think the thing about 2020 and what followed was a lot of people all of a sudden realized you cannot just enjoy the thing.
I know. And that's when people started getting resentful. White people started getting resentful. They're like, why can't I just enjoy the thing? Why do I have to think about these uncomfortable things? Not just the thing.
Yeah. Why can't I just feel good all the time?
Feel good and consume without thinking about problems.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what it's like? It's like when I learned about it's like when you buy a piece of garment and you like try to ignore the fact that it might have been made by tiny Asian hands.
Yeah. And there's like a little note that says help.
Exactly.
In like Mandarin, like
Right.
pinned to the inside. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't like thinking about the ugly side of our fun things.
No.
You know, who makes things, at what cost? I don't mean to laugh. I'm just laughing uncomfortably because truly everything is a nightmare. Everything is truly a nightmare. That's the problem. I totally get it when people are like, I don't like woke. Woke is a bad word. I get it. Do you think I choose to want to be woke all the time?
I want to go back to sleep.
I want to sleep. I want to rest. Okay? Being woke is a walking nightmare.
Yes.
It is looking at everything and seeing all of the labor violations.
It's like being like a spiritual OSHA inspector or something.
Spiritual OSHA inspector. Literally and it doesn't even help when like my focus was like in college. I was a student activist. I was a student of politics and policy, and then I went into politics and worked for the labor movement. Literally all of my most formative years as an adult was just completely awakening and wokening my brain to everything. Literally everything is problematic. Insert Ben Affleck meme photo here.
Wait, which one? The one where he's like in trunks?
Smoking.
Like
There's a smoking one, and then there's like trying to hold on to drinking a Dunkin' Donut or a Dunkin' Donut thing.
I like the one where he's got his paunch out and he's in swim trunks on the beach with his
Yeah.
like hands behind his
And just
back.
looking at the middle distance.
Yeah, that's me like all the time.
Anyway, yeah. Why would anyone want to be woke? Of course, woke is like has terrible branding. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway. Mama.
什么事？
Sorry, this is all in English.
没办法，
She said, can't be helped.
谁叫我不学？
She's like, that's what I get for not learning. Learning English.
小时候不学啊，所以
She's
like-
the wokest of us all.
I know, right? She's like, I didn't learn when I was younger.
What's woker than refusing the colonizer's language?
That's true. Why? Why assimilate? You know what I mean? You know what? When you don't assimilate, your child will be your translator. What a gift. You know, what I really love is that my mom is here with us because my mom is the reason why I'm obsessed with food. You know? I mean, who's not obsessed with food, especially if you're an immigrant or Asian? Because truly, food is the only thing that keeps you connected, even if your parents don't like to talk to you about real things.
I mean, what's the alternative? Like watching the historical Chinese drama TV shows
Sure.
that they watch? Because
I
I
would
tried
just-
to get into it. Couldn't do it.
I mean, I'll watch it, but like I won't understand everything sometimes, you know, growing up.
Yeah. And there's not enough like making out for me.
I mean, listen, when
We're
you're
the
a
gay
horny,
people.
when you're a horny baby, I won't say horny baby ever again. We're the gays. That's the question. Wait, what is your background? Just to let everyone know.
I'm Vietnamese American, but my grandmother would always watch those historical dramas, but with Vietnamese subtitles.
Right. They're like Chinese, but with Vietnamese subtitles.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're queer.
Yes.
And so you're like, where the fuck are the gays at?
Well, to clarify, yes, I'm queer. I'm also a Fujoshi, which
What's
is
that?
a Japanese term for, nominally women. I'm non-binary, but who are really into boys love media. I love watching two men kiss.
Wait, that's a thing?
Yeah, Fujoshi means like rancid woman.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Is it because you're a it's called rancid woman because you like the deviance of watching two boys kiss or whatever?
Yeah, it just
Is that
means
the
you're a
idea
freak.
of it? You're
Yeah.
a freak. I see. Rancid. That's great. I love that. Rancid woman. Am I a rancid woman? I mean, honestly, if you really question most people whether or not they're queer, they're turned on by many things.
That's what I'm saying.
Just if a vibe is sexy enough, it doesn't matter what's happening.
Just open your mind.
Why I don't even know why we got to this. Oh, right, your background. That's right.
Yes,
Vietnamese,
I identify as Vietnamese.
Yes.
Fujoshi.
Yeah. How do you spell that?
Fujoshi.
Fujoshi. Fujoshi. Incredible. My mom has a Japanese name because she's old enough to have had some Japanese schooling in Taiwan.
Oh.
Ma, what's your Japanese name?
Iku.
Oh.
Ikuko.
Ikuko.
Whoa.
So growing up, it never dawned on me that my mom was being called by my dad by some other name.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Until
yeah.
I asked, and it occurred to me to ask. It was like, because we're speaking Chinese Mandarin at home, and he'll be like, "Ikua," and the "ah" is like what you add on when you're Chinese. So that's very like Japanese name plus Chinese "ah" sound, So it's like "Ikua," and I'll be like, "What?" Only later did I ask, "What's iku?"
Ikuka.
Ikuko.
Ikuko.
That's like ikuko, and then iku is the short version. Ko means right? Is like baby or kid.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, ikuko. Do you 你有人家叫你 iku 吗？
有啊，
谁叫你 iku？
哦，家里的人都叫我Iku啊。
现在啊，
本来就是这样子啊，在家里都是这样。
长大的时候还会吗？
会啊，
哦，
都一直都是这么叫啊。
Yeah, she said that even when she got older, like family people would call her iku.
Wow.
I know.
By the colonizer name.
I know.
Weird. It's like if someone called me by the name that I had to take on in Spanish class in like middle school. Carla.
But instead, the Spanish class was actually a part of an entire apparatus of taking over the government.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that's weird.
I know. It's freaking weird. So, okay, where do you think we are now in food media? We haven't talked about this in a while because you just recently left as the restaurant critic for the San Francisco Chronicle, which, if those who don't know, the San Francisco Chronicle food critic was considered a very important position for breaking, especially Bay Area and West Coast kind of like, fancy food scene things.
Taste making.
Literally. And when you were hired as the critic, it was very controversial.
Yes, it was.
It was very controversial because, number one, you were probably the youngest hired as a critic, right?
Probably. Yeah.
And you were not white.
Yes.
And you have a very particular perspective that I've always enjoyed and respected, which is that you don't think about restaurants as just a playground for the elite.
Right. And I don't think of them as something you just engage in without thought.
As a transactional thing.
Yes.
Right.
And it's not just it's not just for fun. There are choices made in restaurant spaces that make them really interesting, that make them the consequence of history and culture and politics and ideology. And that's the fun part for me. Again, I'm miserable. I overthink things and I want you to join me. That's why people don't like me.
有那么好笑吗？
My mom's like, is it really that funny?
That's funny.
I am a miserable fuck. I do hide it though. You know what I mean? I hide it well through laughter and comedy. But I feel that. I really do. My career could have really gone by in multiple ways. Being woke is a scourge, and it means that you do not feel as much joy as you could, because it's, you know what it's like? It reminds me of when I was a kid, and it occurred to me that I thought more about things than other kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
That I cared way more than other kids.
Mm-hmm.
I was the one helping to finish the group project.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And when you realize this as a high schooler, it's all over. It's where you're like, oh, I will never see happiness.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I remember.
I am cursed to overthink everything. Whereas other people who are quote unquote less smart than me, I'm not going to say the mean word, can just blissfully live their lives.
Can you name names at least?
No. Some high school friends, ex-friends.
No, I remember when I was in 3rd grade.
Yeah.
We had our global culture day where everyone came dressed in their ethnic dress. This was in New York City, so that made sense. And we brought food and all this stuff. And I was wearing an ao dai, a Vietnamese dress, and I brought jia ya, the spring rolls.
Uh-huh.
And that morning I asked my mom, what's a refugee? And she was like, oh boy. And so she explained, there was a war and my family came over and da-da-da-da. I spent the whole day at school like so bummed out because I was like, people died. And I just didn't know what to do with myself.
Wait, what grade were you in?
I was in 3rd grade.
Oh my God.
Just a little baby. Just like, wait, there was a war? God. And it was all downhill from there. It was, yeah.
I remember the first time I realized there were homeless people.
Oh my God.
Unhoused. I don't know, guys. I really didn't know. And I remember crying. And then my family laughing at me.
No!
妈，你记得我们以前在 Ralph's 那个超级市场，不是有一个流浪汉，对不对？然后那第一次我发现我很年轻，我发现哦，那个人为什么是那个样子？然后你讲哦，因为他没有家，对不对？然后我开始哭了，你记得吗？ I'm trying to see if she remembers when I cried about the
你说
homeless
我不喜欢看他这样子。
She said that I said I don't like seeing him like this.
Oh.
There was no going back after that.
Way to turn it back onto yourself, Jenny.
I made it about me. I was like, this hurts me to see him.
Typical liberal.
你记得你们都笑。
在笑，又笑。
I go, do you remember you guys were all laughing at me? And then she's like, no, we didn't laugh.
没有。
I love the immigrant parent gaslighting.
我讲了一句话，就是讲说，你不好好的读书，以后就跟他一样。
Wow, she really made it a teaching moment. She was like, if you don't study real hard, you will turn into him.
That's so familiar. Wow.
是真的啊。
That's not fair, Mom. That's so wrong.
那是最好的例子啊。
She goes, that was my way of turning this into a lesson. She made everything that lesson. It was like, this is what happens when you don't get A's in school. when my nephew wasn't getting good grades and my sister-in-law asked me, how did you get good grades, as like to give her advice about my nephew, I literally was like, bro, you just have to make him so mortally afraid of existential annihilation in order for him to be fully motivated to study his ass off and get straight A's like me.
Keep from crying.
Because it's true.
Yeah,
Because it's true. Listen, you went to Stuyvesant High School, so you know what's up.
I do.
You had to do well
Yes.
in order to get into Stuyvesant.
Apparently, yes.
But then what were you in high school? What did you end up being? Like, what was your like like slot? You know?
So actually, interestingly, Stuyvesant High School in New York City is a public high school
yeah.
that has 10 floors, 10 stories, because it's in Manhattan, and each clique had claim to a floor.
And what were you?
I hung out with the kids that lurked outside and inhaled like nitrous and smoked weed and like lots of cigs in front of the school. I was one of those.
Like a burnouts.
Yes.
They don't use this kind of language anymore, but like that's a very 80s 90s term, is to call those kids burnouts,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That was my crew.
Yeah, you're the ones that was like, fuck the system, I don't want to opt in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because if you did, then you would have been a part of one of the floors.
Yes.
Yeah.
The second floor, I think, were the AZNs, if I remember
Second
correctly.
Floor.
Yeah.
Second floor, they're like, we need to be on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First floor, music kids. First and a half was the National Merit Scholar kids.
Wow.
Sixth floor, I remember, were the Magic the Gathering kids.
Sixth floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very smelly floor.
Yeah. Because they wanted to be farther away from the ground.
And they were the
Interesting.
kids that were like, they didn't wear the shoes because they were like Hobbit.
So the first floor is like finance bros. Second floor, professors and scientists. Sixth floor, hackers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they filmed Hackers at my school
Wait.
also,
Oh, wow.
coincidentally.
Shout out to Hackers. Was that a 2000s movie? Or is it 90s?
Oh, I think it was 90s.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
When hacking was like dial up.
When it was cool.
That seems that would be very comical to someone like a Gen Z now, right? Looking at hacking back in the 90s.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Because there were like outfits that you wore, you know? There was like a whole scene.
All right. Okay, now, where are we now in food media? How do we feel? Did we answer the question? I don't even remember.
I don't think so. But I will say that now there's a lot more diversity
Yes.
in the mastheads. But what does that mean? We don't know yet.
this is if any of you know me, or you probably, you would know that just because someone looks like my face doesn't mean we share the same values.
Right. Yes. I did read a really interesting essay by a colleague, Alicia Kennedy. Shout out.
Alicia Kennedy, I subscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Substack. Where she talks about the question of, is food media anti-intellectual?
And what's the answer?
Oh, yeah. Of course.
We don't want to think.
Yeah.
You think eating is for thinking?
No.
That's like saying
No.
cocktails are for thinking. But honestly, I'm more interested in this whole tequila, additive free tequila drama. Did you hear about this?
No.
Okay, I'll save that for another time. But there's a whole thing where I think these big corporations who make tequilas that you all drink are upset that there was this nonprofit movement to like point out that certain big corporate tequilas were getting doctored with certain sugars and other things.
They got that seed oil, huh?
Ooh. I wouldn't put it up there with seed oil as a whole, as an idea. I like the idea of a natural process.
They got
personally.
that ivermectin in the tequila.
That's a good. I think it's a good. We should move on because I could talk about food media with you for a minute. Let's talk about number 3, the death of alt weeklies and weird news. You suggested this. Why should we talk about this?
Oh, yeah. I am obsessed with the alt weekly. I grew up reading The Village Voice. Shout out the Village Voice, which is still publishing to this day. I will always remember the freedom of them compared to like Newsday or the New York Post or New York Times. I'll always like it's burned in my mind. The day after 9/11, the 9/11 attacks, actually, I saw a copy of the Village Voice, and the headline in the front was just "Bastards" in all caps, and it was a picture of like the crash, and I was like, "Whoa, they could do that!"
You can just say the word bastards. That is pretty mind blowing when you're a kid. You're like, what? This is in print?
Isn't that a curse word? What? But yeah, that like sass, that feeling, right? And so many alt weeklies, especially in the Bay Area where we are right now, have been bought out, closed, or zombified, kind of like those
zombified.
Yeah. Yeah, like in The Last of Us, where it's like mushrooms that are turning people into zombies or whatever.
Zombified.
Yeah, they've been bought out and just turned into like advertising rags. Yeah, it's sad.
That has happened in Los Angeles as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there is the LA Weekly used to be the place. I mean, frankly, when the internet was still burgeoning, where you checked out everything. That's like where all the cool shit would be. Where you're like, oh, I'm young. I want to like figure out where the music is. I want to figure out where the indie whatever party is, and that's where it would go. And there used to be this like list of what's cool in LA, and I like somehow got on it. And I remember it being such a big deal when I was just starting out in like doing comedy and producing a lot of live shows. And so, but apparently they got bought by this like conglomerate that like doesn't really care about journalism. I think that's what really, I agree with you. Like I miss having independent news that is kind of local, because there's just something so special about that, because they're connected with things that you can see every day. Especially if you're someone who cares about lifestyle things like food and art and music, right? I feel like that's where you get kind of cultural coverage.
Yeah.
That's not just like watch the show on a streamer.
Right.
Yeah.
And culture makers in the Bay Area and in San Francisco, you know, have been sidelined a lot in the past decade or so.
Why?
Oh, you know, tech.
Oh, right.
It's not very profitable.
Tech
You
bros
can't
have
scale
taken over.
art, really.
How do you run a profitable IPO for art
Yeah.
other than an NFT?
Like, can I do a Series A for my like synthesizer side project? Probably not.
So tell me about, I agree with the whole alt weeklies. Like we need that back. I feel like I try to do my best to support, like in LA, there's LAist, which is connected to the public radio station. So it's both print and radio. I also have been a member of LAtaco.com. LA Taco is a great, independent, very food centric, but independent news coverage kind of a platform. What else is there?
I just learned about a new one actually in the Southland called Southlander.
What's Southland?
Or I guess the southern part of the LA County. I don't know.
Southlander?
Yeah.
That's a thing?
Yeah. It's new.
Southland.
Yeah. Southland.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm
so
sorry.
we would call it the Southland.
I'm not from there.
No, you're not. So that's actually a very local term, is to call it the Southland.
I just saw Southland Tales. So, you know.
Yeah. So
I'm an expert.
The local news people would call it the Southland.
Yes.
Yeah, which is Greater Southern California, basically.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, so there's a new publication called Southlander.
Southlander.
Oh.
And it's an investigative publication that's owned by the workers. And one of they have like various membership tiers. And my favorite thing about them is that the $100 tier, they're called Patrick Soon-Shiong Haters Club.
That's the LA Times owner.
Yes. It's so funny.
Yeah,
I love them.
I know. There's so many. There's the corporatification. Is
but
that
also
the
just
word?
like the
everything.
I mean, it's not even the corporation. It's just a billionaire owns it. Bezos with the Washington Post. It's a monster.
The hedge fund private equity billionaireification of everything.
Yes.
Your dry cleaners, your veterinarians, to media.
Yes. Oh my God. It's a mess.
Okay, so Southlander, I'm going to check that out. And so what is it about weird news that you miss?
Oh God. So when I was a kid, my favorite thing was the Weekly World News, which was a physical paper that was sold alongside the tabloids at the grocery store. And I remember always being so enchanted by the silliness of it.
Like what give me examples.
Like aliens show up in Tucson and get gay married. Or
Oh, uh-huh.
yeah, or like Bat Boy comes out with new album, or like Elvis and Sasquatch found in hotel room.
That's right. I remember this. It was like even 2 shades weirder than like the National Enquirer.
Yes, because it wasn't about real people. It was
No.
just black and white, like weird stuff.
Wow.
It was great.
That's right. You're just jogging my memory here. I feel like there's some breaking news that you want to share about all of this.
Oh yeah,
That like we're going to soft break.
I'm pregnant with a publication.
You're starting your own publication.
Yes.
That's a co-op,
Yes.
worker owned.
Worker owned, because we do not want to get into a Patrick Soon-Shiong situation.
No.
And we want the news to be made by the people who also control the company.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, listen, you left the San Francisco Chronicle just maybe a month or 2 ago,
Yeah.
and now you're already launching a new publication.
Yeah.
Do you want to share what the name of it is, or are we going to wait?
I can share the name. It's Coyote, short for Coyote Media Collective. And the name is, there's a lot of things, right?
Yeah,
like
tell me.
coyotes are a native Bay Area creature, so it's very familiar. They show up, even though people really don't want them to show up. They are kind of this force of like feral energy here, which is a very California thing to say.
Yes.
Also, historically, in mythology, Coyote's a trickster. Coyote's silly.
Ooh.
And Coyote famously stole fire from the gods and gave it to the people, which is like, oh my God, I want to do that. And in San Francisco, where we are right now, there used to be in the 60s and 70s a sex workers' rights group called Coyote, which later became St. James Infirmary.
Oh.
And their name stood for call off your old tired ethics. It's just so many things all at once.
Also, Coyote, the name of a famous movie, Coyote Ugly.
Yes, I cannot wait for whoever hates us to come out with that
As a headline.
as a pejorative. Yeah, like so many times.
But I mean, I feel like in your world, in this Coyote sphere that you're building, ugly is like a positive word.
Oh yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel that.
we're very like anti-AI, for instance,
Ugh.
and ugliness, that friction that AI and tech promise to eradicate are so integral to our values, actually.
You're like, bring on the friction.
Yeah.
I love that. And I feel like, there is a turn toward IRL. There is a turn toward tactile living, right? Gen Z is apparently discovering zines.
So cute.
Isn't that cute?
Gen Zine.
Gen Zine. I hope someone has a zine called Gen Zine.
That'd be really cute.
Is there any plans to make like a hard copy version or no?
If we get enough money.
So is there a way for us to support Coyote?
At this point, we are about to launch a crowdfunding campaign in June.
Incredible.
So beginning of June. And it'll be our test to see if anyone's actually interested in this thing. So
Wow.
we'll find out.
Are you going to be doing like sort of hitting the ground, working with contacts to see if you can get investors as well?
We definitely don't want investors.
Yeah.
It's worker owned, baby. That's
Right.
it.
So you never use the word investor. That's right.
Oh, no.
It's all because maybe are they considered investors? No, that's like a totally different meaning, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know these meanings.
No.
Okay. So you're looking for,
Just people who want to give us money for free
got it.
or in exchange for subscriptions.
Oh, okay. So you're looking for people who are subscribers and supporters.
Yes.
Incredible. Okay, great.
And I've decided on our crowdfunding campaign, if you donate, let's say at least $1,000, I'll go out to dinner with you,
Oh,
kind of like an escort. And if you donate at least 5,000, I will officiate your wedding
what?
because I am an
ordained
minister.
minister.
Yes, I'm
Incredible.
ordained. I will officiate your wedding.
If there's anyone you want to eat with, is Soleil. I can attest to that. If you want to nerd out over food,
Oh my God.
incredible.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're going to do after this, right?
I love to do the thing that a lot of people don't like, which is order for the table. I love to order for the table. I get such a thrill, like a tingle in my chest when the server says, "You did such a good job ordering." Oh my God.
Oh God, I'm
That's
so.
my fetish.
Oh, that's your main turn on.
Oh yeah.
That makes me so curious about what you're going to order for us later. Because we're going to go to a Cantonese restaurant, and I've never been there, and I mean, I'm excited because all my mom does is ask me to like send her Chinese food because she doesn't really cook anymore.
Mhm.
And she lives with my brother who only eats like American burgers and sandwiches. And so she's always like, "Ma, 你一直讲你想吃中餐，对不对?"
对，
She tried to shush me. She's like, don't be airing out our dirty laundry. So 我只是跟他们讲，哦，你有机会你能吃中餐，你就会吃中餐，对不对？
对，
为什么？
习惯。
Yeah, she's just like, I'm just used to it. So I think when you said that we're going to go get Chinese food, I was like, great.
I'm so excited.
We're going to see what Soleil orders. Okay. Well, I'm so honored that you soft announced, soft broke. Well, I don't know these journalistic
My water
terms.
soft broke on camera.
Coyote. What's the URL for it?
It will be coyotemedia.org.
Coyotemedia.org. I'm going to donate.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you. You are a great example of someone who I always look to create a world that we want to live in.
Wow. That's so sweet.
You are one of those people that very early on I was like, Soleil's one of those real ones, you know?
I joke that I'm miserable, but really, deep down, I'm an optimist, I think. I just
Listen,
don't like to admit it.
I mean, you have to if you engage in miserable topics. If you know what I'm saying? Otherwise, it's like I'd kill myself.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
low key.
But at the core of it, you have to believe in people.
You do.
Right?
Yeah. Another world is possible. I have to believe that. I've been trying to remember that.
Yes.
Practice hope. Because part of doing this podcast is processing all the negative shit that's been happening in the world.
Mhm.
It's like my outlet.
Mhm.
But I am also trying to convert that into, forward movement, more positive feelings, and creativity.
Mhm.
And that's what this is. You're creating coyotemedia.org. Un otro mundo es posible. I got 5 hours of sleep last night. When I say that, I feel like there's like young mothers who are like, brag. Who wants to play misery poker? Next topic. Where are we at? Number 4.
Oh, Cybertruck.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about this for too long because otherwise we're going to go into hour 2. But you wanted to talk about the politically very confounding Cybertruck in the Bay Area that sports a custom keffiyeh wrap. So please describe this to us.
Sure. Yeah. So around the Bay Area, on occasion, I've seen it with my eyes. In the Mission District, I've seen it. And I see it posted on Reddit or Twitter or whatever, like sometimes. And it's just a Cybertruck, a typical Cybertruck. And a lot of them have like custom wraps. There's one in Berkeley that has like a sandwich wrap on it, which is a very confusing thing to say. But it's the official company car for some like vegan lunch meat, I don't know, startup. But this one has a full body wrap, and it's just like a very like a flowing depiction of a keffiyeh, like the Palestinian like sort of solidarity, like the traditional scarf.
Pattern, yeah.
And it's just so like, okay, being anti-Zionist, very big brain move, I think. But having a Cybertruck, very tiny brain move. So who is this? Who is this person? What are they about? I'm so curious. Yeah, I don't know.
This is complete speculation. I know nothing about this. Number 1, are we sure this is just one car? It's the same car.
It's the same car.
Okay, so there's one car that's a Cybertruck with I've never figured out how to pronounce it. It's keffiyeh.
Yeah.
Keffiyeh wrap. Okay, here's my speculation. They bought a Cybertruck before they thought too hard about how problematic Elon Musk was.
Tiny brain move.
Right? Where you're like, I'm in tech. I'm in the Bay Area. Cybertruck is cool. I'll just get it. This is before maybe they realized Elon Musk had all of these problematic things.
But after the racial discrimination lawsuit at the Tesla factory in Fremont.
Right. So there were already signs. But maybe they were like, oh, he just did a Hitler salute. Maybe I need to be one of those people. Moms, that's my brother saying in an alarm that's custom made for mom that says, Mom, it's time to eat. Take your medicine.
Oh, that's so nice.
Anyway, so my speculation is that this person, after there was some kind of Elon has gone too far moment, decided to signal to the world, I'm going to keep driving the Cybertruck, but I'm just going to wrap it around in keffiyeh so that people know that I'm not that type of Cybertruck owner.
Yeah. It's a lot more ambitious than the like F Elon tiny little stickers that people put on their Teslas.
Exactly.
This is really like full-throated.
Right.
Yeah. That's all. I'm obsessed with it.
Why
I think
don't
about
you
it a
sell
lot.
it? Why don't you sell your Tesla?
Probably no one wants to buy them.
That's true. The secondary market must have shrank.
And they're also recalled.
That's right.
Falling apart.
There's like pieces of metal that fall off. Listen, I get what you mean by wanting to, save your investment in a car by putting a pro-Palestinian cultural pattern on your Cybertruck, but I feel like there's a better way to do that.
I don't even know, honestly. I mean, you can go Luigi on his ass and he would save the Tesla stock.
I wonder if someone has figured out who this person is. I mean, I do feel like I want to know what their thinking is.
Yeah, I don't know. That will be one of the first Coyote stories is like, we will find this person.
Yes. Oh, see, that's a story worth donating to. Moving on. Number 5. Can we talk about this? We don't have to stay on this real long. I mean, honestly, we could just finish out this episode with the sort of paywalled, portion of it of us eating at this restaurant. But can we talk about the white South Africans that have been welcomed to America as refugees while we've been sending out legal residents and immigrants and citizens for no goddamn reason? Can we talk about this? Do you know about this?
I do.
Yeah. Apparently, here are the facts. If you don't know what happened, earlier this week on Monday, 59 white Afrikaners, they're called, have been received in America as refugees from South Africa because they had claims of racial discrimination. South Africa's president, who is not a white Afrikaner, Cyril Ramaphosa, called these folks resettling in the U.S. cowards. I'm sorry. I'm laughing because there is no place in my mind where any of the news involved in the Trump administration, especially when it comes to immigration, is not so ridiculous and so wild and so unethical and so unprincipled that the only way to deal is to laugh about it. Afrikaners are linked to the former apartheid regime. If you don't know, South Africa used to have a disgustingly oppressive and hierarchical regime where a minority of white people were in charge and they oppressed everyone else who were not white. And that was a huge movement that required the entire world to intervene and show up with their activism, including in America, to end apartheid.
And divest.
And it is very similar to a lot of the problems as well as the tactics, both to take down and to maintain the apartheid regime that we know now as Palestine and Israel, right? So this is why it also interests me, because we are seeing this sort of like proxy movement to justify racists and a racist regime that is supportive of apartheid, because that's who Elon Musk is. Elon Musk comes from this background as a South African. They claim genocide of these white farmers, but as a South African court has ruled, they've dismissed these allegations as, quote, clearly imagined and not real. And in one of my favorite sources of indie media, Democracy Now!, Andile Zulu, a South African political essayist on Democracy Now!, commented and said that this accusation of white genocide is a conspiracy theory and a myth. And it's so disgusting to me and so insidious that they would honor this claim of white victimhood and allow them to show up in America as refugees.
Can I add also that, so do you know Grok? The AI
The AI
chatbot?
for Twitter?
Yes.
Yeah.
So recently, Grok has been programmed to make every comment that it makes about white genocide in South Africa. You really need to check this out because
Wait, what?
it could be a post about someone posting a selfie saying like, do I look cute today? And then someone will comment, Grok, what do you think? And then Grok will say, we'll just start going off about white genocide in South Africa, about in any context. It'll say like, da 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 da. Anyway, the white genocide in South Africa. It's so, I don't even know. I don't know what word. It is that.
I did not know
amazing.
this.
Yes, it's amazing.
See, this is why AI and technology is not neutral. There is no neutrality in technology.
No.
You literally have to have an algorithm that skews a certain way, that upholds a certain set of values, that, tries to imagine a world that it wants. And that has to be done by humans.
Yeah.
Humans have to program and direct AI and technology to go a certain way.
Yeah, right now, like Grok is like me at Thanksgiving, but about like, the opposite.
It is your racist uncle with power.
Yes.
At Thanksgiving, telling you, oh, by the way, like whatever their agenda is, no matter what the topic over Thanksgiving meal.
It's always coming back to circumcision. Why?
Here's the facts. What does the data say about race in South Africa? According to Statistics South Africa, the South African Human Rights Commission, Republic of South Africa, the unemployment rate is 7.9% for white people, 36.9% for black people. 1% of white people are living in poverty compared to 64% of black people. 72% of privately owned land is white owned, despite white people comprising about 7% of the population. In what world does that justify the oppression you require to claim to be a refugee to America?
Maybe someone, looked at one of these people wrong.
Ma, what do you think of Elon Musk? Elon Musk, 你知道是谁吗？那个 Tesla
哦，
中文怎么讲 Tesla？
特斯拉
特斯拉的那个人
哦
Elon Musk 怎么讲他名字？反正就是那个特斯拉的那个人啊，不是他跟 Trump 是朋友啊。
哎，
你听他的新闻，你觉得他是怎么样？
他我不能讲，我不会讲。
讲啊，
不要讲，
为什么？
不懂。
才怪你懂，你有意见就讲啊。
我没意见啊。
No comment.
Mom doesn't want to get arrested.
Mom knows. 为什么不讲？
有什么好讲？我是很小的一个小市民啊，我们讲了有什么用啊？
不管啊，我想知道啊，你跟我讲，你觉得他怎么样？
觉得他是有钱人讲话就，觉得是他是有钱人，所以讲话就很夸张。没有想到我们这些小市民的生活。
I said, what do you think of Elon? And she's like, I don't know. I'm just a small person. You don't need to hear my opinion. And I said, no, you should tell me. I just want to hear it. And then she said, I think these really rich people, they can talk real big and over exaggerate, and they don't think about the consequences for the little people.
You should ask her how she feels about Chinese Elon Musk.
There's a Chinese Elon Musk?
Elon Ma. Yeah.
有一个伊兰吗？ Wait, what?
He's this guy on TikTok that looks like Elon Musk.
Oh.
In just like Chinese
I didn't know
village.
that. 听说在中国啊，大陆啊，有一个人他是样子很像那个特斯拉的那个人，但是他是中国人。你有听过的吗？
我没听过。
He's cool.
伊兰吗？
Yeah, I fuck with Elon Ma.
That's so funny. Oh my god, that's
我只看到有人弄那个窗 川普的那个卡通片这样子在游行啊，在生气啊的那个。
Oh, she just said, I've only seen like a Trump effigy that gets carried around at protests.
Nice.
弄各种的那种卡通那个样子。
Like, oh, different cartoony, I don't know, effigies, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Mom.
小市民不要参与政治事情，
为什么？
没有用。
Wow. Mom says little people shouldn't discuss politics. There's no use.
Mm.
Yikes, Mom.
I thought I was cynical.
I know, Mom. She's given up. She'll give a fuck.
That's okay.
She's on the sunset of her life. She's like, I don't give a fuck.
She deserves to be calm.
小市民话不能乱讲。
She said, when you're a little person, you can't say random shit.
Mm.
It's dangerous.
Mm.
Yeah. 危险，是不是？ Yeah, a little bit of that feeling. It's like, why speak out when you're a small person?
他现在两个不是翻脸了吗？
什么？
川普跟那个特斯拉那个老板，
Mom doesn't want to be on the microphone.
我不想录上去。
Wow, she doesn't want to be on record.
Ooh.
She said, yeah, didn't they have a falling out? Wow, she's like keeping track of the Musk dump, the Elonia and dump fallout.
She's like the Jenny Yang podcast Deep Throat.
All right, I won't put my mom on the spot anymore. Let's move on. Fuck Elonia. Fuck the dump administration. This bullshit racist ass immigration policies. Fuck ICE. Remember abolish ICE? We need to bring that shit back. Yeah, she said online I can see a lot of news.
Mm.
So yeah, Mom keeps up. Let's round things out. We have number 6. I just want to shout this out, okay? I am so disturbed by this Asian American ethnic studies professor at East LA College named Aki Maehara. Professor Maehara believes that he was targeted in a possible hate crime. This was covered on ABC 7 in Los Angeles. He was riding his e-bike in the Montebello area when he was struck by a car and called an anti-Asian slur. It's so graphic when you see the video. We might put in some of it and insert it in here, but he said, there's never been a decade in my life where I have not been racially victimized. I mean, he's near retirement, this like old head professor, and zero respect. He's on his bike, and to be hit by a car, he said, quote, I heard, I'm not going to bleep this out, fucking chink, and I got hit. My bike and I were thrown. As soon as I hit the row of bricks, I heard the guy say, go back to fucking Chinkland, and then he drove away. This is something that I have experienced in probably every decade of my life, but I just was never hit by a car, knock on wood. So it just really pisses me off that this guy who is literally, I mean, I'm gonna start crying if I think about it. Like, I don't even know this guy, this professor, but it was ethnic studies and Asian American professors of his generation that really made me, that like helped me put into words the feelings I had about being an immigrant in this country, about trying to understand why is it that in my household there was less power as a young Asian American girl, how the dynamics were with my parents, what it meant to be an immigrant in America. And it was people like Professor Aki Maehara who were the trailblazers for us, who taught all of us so that we had the language and the way to look at things and the analysis to feel more empowered and not insane. So just, shout out to Professor Maehara for holding it down. We'll link the GoFundMe here. Victim of hate attack, Aki Maehara needs our help, and the video to his wounds. Like, you need to see how this man got hurt.
Yeah, no, it's depressing, especially because he's a professor.
Yeah.
And he aspires to teach the younger generation to not
at East
make
LA
the same
College,
mistakes.
a public college, you know? Anyway, Professor Maehara, maybe I can get the professor on as a guest. That would be cool. Anyways, that's that. Next up, we have number 7. Medicaid funding is getting cut, potentially kicking out millions and millions of the most vulnerable and needy Americans in this GOP bill, budget bill, which essentially is going to be one of the biggest wealth transfers for the wealthy because it is coupled with a huge tax cut for the wealthy. Because if I have 4 yachts, I truly do need another couple more millions and billions. Is that what it is? Fuck these hoes. In another news connected, that we're not even going to discuss this because we're going to get to happier things. Food. Number 8, I just want to shout out Ben and Jerry's co-founder, Ben Cohen. I don't know if you've seen the video. He was among the protesters at RFK Jr. Senate hearing. They need to see, these ghouls need to see zero peace. You know what I mean? So he's out here, he's yelling, you're killing poor kids in Gaza and paying for it by cutting Medicaid for kids here, right? He's saying that while Congress writes checks, Congress is killing poor kids in Gaza by buying the bombs and paying for it by kicking kids off of Medicaid in the US. He's saying they need to let food into Gaza. They need to let food to starving kids. Congress is paying to bomb poor kids in Gaza and paying for it by kicking poor kids off of Medicaid in the US.
I really enjoyed watching the video because RFK Jr. really jumped out of his seat like he was going to get capped.
You said capped.
Just the
He got startled.
yeah.
This man needs to see zero peace.
I mean, any Kennedy is probably just waiting for
Listen,
their day.
the Kennedy curse is real, and I'm not saying it needs to happen, but it is real.
I do think that RFK Jr. did get cursed to look like the Rock Eater from the Neverending Story.
Wow, deep cut. Insert photo of the Rock Eater.
It's 1-to-1. And he sounds like him too. Could you imagine getting into a sexting relationship with the Rock Eater while your fiance is in the other room?
This might be a turn on for some people. Let's not yuck people's yum, okay? Side note, RFK Jr. in that hearing admitted, quote, I don't think people should take medical advice from me. Oh, you mean from the Secretary of Health and Human Services? Listen, the levels of hypocrisy and irony and insanity are next level. It's beyond. Satire is dead because truly any over-exaggeration exists in reality now. And then, you know what? I think that's it. We're going to do a taste test and then a restaurant outing. There's a couple things we're going to taste test. Right now, we're going to have a little taste of something. And then we're going to talk about action items. So there's a thing where if there's something in our conversation where you're like, ooh, I should follow up on this. I should try this. Are there any action items for you today?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, I can't subscribe to my own publication, but
That's going to be on my action item, is to subscribe to coyotemedia.org.
that'd be great. I do want to... Actually, no.
Wait, what?
I was just thinking I want to make a custom ringtone on my mom's phone of me just harassing her. That would be great. She would love that.
Hopefully our editor kept in the part where it was my brother's voice going, Mom, take your medicine. Mom, take your medicine.
It's so cute.
Custom ringtones for moms.
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
God. I love that. Yeah, because she always forgets, she says.
Very helpful.
By the way, if you see my mom's ear, 妈你耳朵给人家看，转过来，耳朵头过去那边，对，转过去一点嘛，你看人家看 Yeah. So if you notice that, it's because my mom is currently listening to Chinese soothing music while we're recording.
It's her Xanax, huh?
It is. It's her fidget spinner. Any other action items other than that for me? I don't know. I kind of feel like supporting more indie media is going to happen. You know, I've been trying to subscribe to indie food media, like on Substack or whatever. I know you have very unhappy feelings towards Substack. I heard that you have nemesis.
Oh, yeah.
Nemesis? Nemesis. Okay. I don't know. We're probably going to cut off the paywall right here. If you want to hear the nemesis conversation as the action items of people I should avoid and that you should avoid, we're going to spill it. Okay, so tell me about, real quick, action items for me to avoid.
Oh,
Tell
God.
me. Gavin Newsom, we hate him.
Gavin.
That's easy.
Please. Yeah.
Yeah, and he probably hates you because of your coverage. Well, look at that. You just caught the end of the free episode. If you want to hear the entire episode uncut, subscribe to jennyyang.substack.com. Paid subscribers keep me talking my shit and get the full extended cut plus bonus material. Being a free Substack subscriber is fun too. You get access to our subscriber-only chat where you can start threads about each episode and the wild news of the world with me and a like-minded community. Leave a cute voicemail or text at 323-250-3589 to get on next week's podcast agenda. And please do me a favor and be sure to follow, rate, and review wherever you listen to this podcast. And if you write a fun little review, we might just read it on the air. So thank you so much. See you next week. My special guests will be the incredible podcasters of the Todo Chido podcast. Love those guys. See you soon.